Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in sweltering Southern California, and that gentleman out there sunning his buns.
Matt Metris in Rochester, New York, and it's kind of warm here today too. It's about 90.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you have the humidity on top of that. You can see his sunglasses. Those are sunglasses that were courtesy of this Quechol, Gesundheit. Uh,
Sounds German.
yeah, this is a new line of Sotol that it just came on the market. It's got some really flashy marketing, and you can see this bottle is kind of really nice.
It's a really beautiful bottle. I love how thin it is, right? It's thin and tall.
Yeah, and it's oval. I mean, look at that. You know, it's got he got the sunglasses and the I got a bumper sticker. I mean, that's kind of cool. I did get the sunglasses. I'm just not wearing them. I wanted Matt to wear them so you could see all his ring lights in this studio. So yeah, so you see all his lighting, and I have like this halogen that's creating heat. But anyway, so we're going to we're going to dissect this brand new Sotol. Sotol is going to be the next biggest thing.
100%.
There's a lot of controversy going on with Sotol. There's a lot of opportunity with Sotol. There's a couple of distillers in Texas who are producing. One is producing it the way it should be done. The other one, maybe not so much. But anyway, we'll get into all the ins and outs while we go through this. I just want to let you know that this one is at 45.5 ABV. This is distilled from the Daslerian Wheeleri strain or variety of Sotol. If you're not familiar with what Sotol looks like, it's called Desert Spoon. You can plug that into any of your Google analytics or just Google and you'll find pictures of it. It grows everywhere in the Southwest. I know that grows in New Mexico where I used to live. Here in Southern California, actually up in Ventura and Santa Barbara County, they grow it on the hillsides as ground cover so that it prevents landslides when there's fires or more likely rain. And it's all over up and down Ventura County. So you've seen it. It's there. One of the more famous national parks, I think, is Big Bend in El Paso, near El Paso, and it's famous for its desert views, and it's got Sotol everywhere. So
cool looking plant too.
Yeah, it requires very little, if any, water. So it's very in New Mexico, they've been in a drought for like forever, and they do a lot of xeriscaping, is what they call it, in New Mexico, where it's just cactus and things that require very little water. Okay, and we're headed for that in California. So anyway, I'm Sotol is one of my favorite Mexican distillates. I was exposed to that by a very famous, very prominent Sotol distilling family, and they've been friends of mine ever since. So we're going to go with Quechol, and this is the Daslerian Wheeleri. I'm pouring some in my Stazzo Jarrito for mezcal because that's what it's for. Yeah. It's got a wider mouth surface, so it doesn't require a lot of a sample. Lingering bubble on there, and I don't know if you can see that on my screen, but nice legs and tears. Wow,
beautiful, super clingy.
Generally speaking, from what we've had several Sotols, and actually myself and a few of the TJs have had some Sotols, and really we enjoy it. I gotta say, it's of all the plants, when we talk about terroir, of all the plants that exemplify what terroir is, I think the Sotol plant really gets it, because I've had Sotol from Chihuahua, I've had Sotol from Durango, There are 3 states where you can make it: Chihuahua, Durango, and I forget what the other one is right now. I'm sorry. I'll get it when we do the second.
When we do the second one.
When we
Yeah,
do the
there's
second
such
one.
a wide variety of flavor profiles too that we see in Sotols, and I think this might be the first one you and I have done together, Mike. But
But you've had some
I
before.
have quite a collection of Sotol
Yeah.
downstairs at my
See,
bar.
those of you who are in the desert Southwest, if you haven't had Sotol, you're missing out. I literally say it is. You know how in the Southwest, and Matt, you were in Arizona last year, so you know what it's like during monsoon weather, which we're having here in California, surprisingly. You can literally smell rain before it gets to your location, and that's that smell of fresh rain, coming at you before you actually see the rain or before you actually get any rain. It's wet cement. You get plant. You get the different microclimates in the Southwest. Really are exemplified within this plant, and it's a sustainable plant. It's not like agave where you uproot it and you have to plant the babies, the offshoots. This plant, it's a bulb, and so literally when you harvest it, the roots stay in the ground and it's going to grow itself again. So it's a completely sustainable industry that requires little or no water. So, wow, holy cow. I'm going to like this one.
There's so much happening at once. I'm trying to.
I know for those of you who are listening to us on the podcast, we're trying to formulate the words. Okay, so bear with us. Definitely smell of desert. You get earth. You get plant. Generally, these are fermented with fibers, like some mezcal, like some ancestral mezcals, and even artisanal mezcals are fermented with the fibers on top.
Yeah, I get a lot of plant. I agree with you.
It's green. It's very green also. And you know what?
Really had to shift my mind out of that tequila mindset too, because you get used to doing these tequila tastings and you set up that profile in your brain. You're like, nothing's computing. You got to reboot.
Well, even mezcals, because that's still an agave. This is not. This is what is it more related to? I want to not asparagus. Is it asparagus? I think. Yeah. There's some of it called agave, but that's incorrect. That is not the family that it belongs to.
Call it agave adjacent.
Yeah, that's a good way of escaping. That's a good way of putting that off, right?
Getting some spiciness on here too. Or you get like a pepper of some kind, or
we just broke the seal on these, and I don't know why I'm having a hard time for it to open up. It's very subtle. And I'm finally getting a little bit of alcohol. I mean, I was getting even alcohol. I was just trying to.
Yeah, very little alcohol especially for being 45+%.
Yeah. I don't know who the hand of the maker is on this. There's only so many sotoleros out there. The one that I'm familiar with primarily is the Jaques family out of Janos, Chihuahua. And I know he has his hand in a couple of brands. He does private labeling for a couple of them, but you can always tell the hand of the maker just by the flavor profile. It's weird how that happens. And I'm not as versed. I wish we're going to start to see a lot more of these coming up. All right, literally. I was told not too long ago that Lenny Kravitz is involved with a brand.
Really?
Sotol. Yeah. Who knew, right?
I mean, we know how we feel about celebrity tequilas, so hopefully that's not.
Well, yeah, but
negative.
Lenny's he's a little different. He's what I would call a mystic in the music world, kind of like Bob Marley and Ziggy Marley. They were mystics in musical mystics, and I believe that, you know, even Prince can be considered a mystic. So anyway, that's what I heard. I'm not exactly sure which brand he's associated with. It could be this one. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think? Go for it.
Yeah, I think we better dive in, because it's very subtle, very not it's unfamiliar to me, because I've had, for instance, the other company that is involved, the Marfa Spirits Company, is the one that's doing a joint with the Jaques family in Mexico. I've had Chihuahuan Desert Sotol, and very, very Chihuahuan, but they're also going to produce a Texas version in this, and they're going to produce it, distill it in the state of Texas with Jacob Jaques, you know, supervising and doing it, but on the Texas side of it. So I need to dive in. I'm not getting a lot. It's very subtle, which is weird for me. So let's dive in and see if we get anything. Oh my God. Wow, this is glorious.
Yeah, a ton of plant, a lot of sweetness in it, like a sweet vegetation. There's some pepper kick on the front of my tongue at the end.
Yeah.
Finish is relatively short, but like my tongue is feeling it instead of in my esophagus. You know?
Yeah. It's a lighter, considering it's got some nice legs and tiers. The body and the structure is a lot silkier than I thought. I thought we were going to get a lot more structure, and that's okay. It's all right, because Chihuahuan Desert Sotol is very silky. It's almost very light, and yet all of it happens on the flavor, you know.
Yeah. Well, on that second sip, I got a lot more finish on that, but the first
on the second one,
right down,
yeah. No, it's a much longer finish than you think it is. It's very deceiving.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, there's earth, there's plant, and if you've ever had Sotol, you know that the plant is very distinctive, very different from any of the agave plants. Agave tends to be beefier, it tends to be deeper. And by the way, these are pit roasted, and I'm not getting any smoke. Are you?
Definitely has that heat that we see frequently with you know, pit roasted mezcals, but nothing like no smokiness, over the top smokiness. I'm getting a little bit of licorice or like anise on the back end.
Pleasant retronasal, all that plant and the fibers. You know what I love about the Sotol is that some mezcals and raicillas, because for some reason when they're fermented with the fibers, you get that fibrousness, you get that denseness within the juice. This one's very light, and this, I know it's fermented with the fibers on top, and yet it's still this light.
Yeah, really.
So all the flavor profiles really in all of it that happens is in the mouth, in the mouthfeel. Wow, what a great finish! Holy cow! We've had a few Sotols this year. I haven't done this many with Matt, primarily with there's earth. I got earth on that one. I mean earthy, like dirt, like and I can't even call it wet cement, because I know these are again, they're not giving us a whole lot of how they're crushing it. Some of these are crushed, you know, with a tahona. Some of these are hand crushed. Some of these are shredded.
Yeah, they do say shredded in the production notes here. Do you want to hear the production?
Yeah, please.
So averaging 15 years of maturation, the piñas weigh 65 to 70 pounds.
Yep.
harvested by proprietary koas, stronger than the ones you might see used to harvest blue agave.
Yeah, they're called axes.
Right?
Yeah.
Cooked in a volcanic rock pit oven for 3 days. Shredders used to shred the fibers. Natural fermentation with cultivated yeast, and then double distilled in
Ah, so it's natural fermentation with cultivated yeast.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a
that's like an oxymoron.
Yeah, word salad, I was gonna say.
Yeah, word salad. Okay, now here's the thing. That's probably why it's coming across much lighter. If it's natural fermentation, what they mean is it's open air fermentation, because that's generally how it's done in pine vats. I'm hoping that is the case. I mean, I have yet to have one in a stainless steel vat.
Right.
I know that some fermentation happens like in what I call below ground. I think the Hawkes family has one where it's like a concrete pool, and it's deep, and then that's where the fermentation happens. So it's not necessarily a wooden vat, but it's like a concrete, it's well seasoned. I mean, that's how they've been doing it for a long time, but I guess after the crushing, they use gravity, and it just it's easily poured in from where they're crushing it to this underground, what looks like an in-ground pool. And they have several in this like warehouse, and that's open air. To my knowledge, they're not using any proprietary yeast. If these folks are using proprietary yeast, when they say if it's cultivated from the plant itself, like El Tesoro does, that's their proprietary yeast made from their own plants.
And I missed a big word here, Mike. I was reading it. Natural fermentation without the use of proprietary cultivated yeast.
All right.
So that was my fault. That was my fault.
No, but you scared me on that one, because I was just about to say, if they're going to use proprietary yeast, that's champagne yeast.
Yeah.
And I don't see that here, because that champagne yeast tends to leave a mark, a stamp on the plant, and I never do this. I'm going to get a second pour, because this thing is for 45.5 ABV. It's really light, folks.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Saturday afternoon while we're recording this, so we can do a little extra drinking today.
Yeah, well, we're actually filming this at the end of June, toward the end of June and beginning of July, and both Matt and I are July babies. Mm-hmm. So we're going to celebrate our birthdays a little bit early with some Sotol. So
I turn 27 next week.
So do I. I'm prematurely gray.
Me too.
I don't do what Matt does and use Grecian formula for your beard. I just decided, what, I can't do that. So.
You know what the trick is I shaved this morning.
Yeah. I'm lucky if I can get 5 minutes to put my face in front of a razor. So I think today I'm actually going to have time to have my monthly cigar, because I get like one day a month where I can carve out some time.
I had another event this morning that I had to look nice for and dressed.
You're doing that crypto stuff again,
just for Tequila Aficionado.
Are you doing? Oh no, you went to a graduation.
Yeah, I went to a graduation.
Okay.
I had to be in a graduation.
Matt is such a civic-minded guy, and he's famous. And for those of you who are into cryptocurrency, he's your guy. You've probably already seen him in some of his. This guy spoke to people in front of a packed room in Vegas. So you're kind of like in your own, like me. I'm famous kind of like in my own little circle.
Minor.
Yeah, I know. Actually, Matt's more famous for his tequila knowledge about his cryptocurrency.
Possible. Because
the market's going to die on that. Okay. And NFT, don't get me started on NFTs. Yeah. You know what?
There was a tequila NFT.
There is. Yeah.
And there was one that came with a bottle, And like I looked up, I forget which distillery
It's
it was at. I looked up the
Patron.
note on
Patron
the
has
back,
it.
and I was just like, it wasn't worth $150, so I
Yeah.
didn't buy it. But
Yeah, I there's a mezcal that's doing it too, actually. And what you know what I love? You know what the NFT stands for, right?
What's that?
Not fucking there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're not on cable. I can go ahead and say that word.
Al, our friend of the show, Alan Camarena, is a huge NFT guy. He makes NFTs and sells them online, and we've had some good discussions about it. There's not a lot of tequila and NFT overlap, so
yeah, well, you know, it's not fucking there. I'm sorry. And it's just like this flavor profile. It's like it's an NFT. It's an NFT in your glass because I'm expecting more denseness in this glass, and I'm not getting it. But, and not that I'm put off. I'm surprised.
Yeah, it is.
I really am, because I'm expecting more character. This is a really dangerous. This is a dangerous Sotol. Quechol, be careful. This, you can go through a half a bottle and not know it.
Challenge accepted. Here's some of that. I didn't lose the POS for once.
I know. And for once we got POS.
Yeah, that's true too.
We never get any of this stuff.
Normally we get almost
on
nothing.
The back, it tells you what the flavor profile is. I will say, Matt, that for a Sotol, this is very sweet.
That's the first thing that hit me, was the sweetness. Yeah.
Generally speaking, the Sotol plant does have to take 12, 15 years before they can harvest it. It won't gather any character otherwise. It is, again, I think, very indicative of what the term terroir really means. And it's this plant. This plant does it, where it absorbs where it's been and whatever microclimate it's been. And I would love to see more California Sotol. I want to see wine country Sotol, because it's here. I want to see, you know, I've had Texas Sotol. I've had it from Genius Liquids that really makes it old school. All right, I know the guy. I've interviewed him. We're in discussions all the time. He has really taken a page from Sotoleros, and he's got that old soul where he just wants to do it right. And Texas Sotol smells and tastes like Texas prairie. It does. So that's why I'm kind of interested to taste the next one, because it'll be Texanum. That's the other strain. I've had other ones that are very gamey. There's another Daslerian, and I can't. I'm not a botanist, so bear with me. There's like 3 different. Leofilm is another variety of Sotol. And Leofilm that I've had is much gamier. And I've even had Sotol that is outside a denomination of origin, and it's called Palmilla. And that's even more gamey. It tastes more like palm. I mean, literally, it's like very fibrous, very dense. It's got more denseness than this one does. This is a very light, enjoyable. Okay, you're a cocktail guy. What are you can you put this in a cocktail?
I mean, it looks like the price point's about $60, which is limiting.
Cost prohibitive, right?
Yeah, when you're building a cocktail. But at home, I don't know where I'm going with this. I would drink it neat, probably, but maybe the first thing that pops in my mind is pineapple.
Okay.
And go in some direction like that with it, but I would have to.
I would say you're right. Something tropical, as opposed to more in the dried fruit, dates and cherries. It doesn't do that. But yeah, tropical fruit, I can see that.
Yeah. I know I always say I'll try it and report back, and then I just end up drinking it all.
Anyway, folks, I loved it. I think it's a brand of promise in the Sotol category. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna get you these. You watch. It's gonna show up in the mail. You're gonna get one of these and an ice cream stick, and I'm gonna have one milk on it, and it's gonna. You know what to do.
By 2024, I'll have a
No, it's sooner than that. Actually, because it's on my agenda now. I think it's lovely. I think it's much lighter, folks. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a Sotol fiend like I am, and we've had a few this year, myself and Jason, our TJ in Arizona, we've had a couple already this year, and each one has been different. One that tasted like it was distilled, like they threw in the heads back into the second distillation, and it was more citrusy. It was weird. It's like it had this. It wasn't funky. When that happens, usually in distillation, sometimes the end result gets funkier, like a Montelobos, the original Montelobos with Espadin. They did that, and it came out funky, so funky that it tastes like old socks. Okay, and the one that we had this year from Casa Medanos, or Medanos, I think, Medanos. Anyway, that one tasted like they had run the heads back in the second distillation, and it was like citrus. It was like orange or grapefruit. It was really odd. And the Sotolera is a woman. So I was excited about that. This one is very light. I think commercially it's going to do great. You're going to love it. It's sweet. I think ladies are going to fall in love with this because it's really, like Matt said, on the finish is less pronounced than some of the other Sotols that I've had. I think you called it like short to medium.
Yeah, I would say short, absolutely. And it grows on you though. It lengthens out. It's sneaky.
Yeah, it's like a good salsa. You know, you go back for more and back for more, and the heat starts to build up on your palate. And virtually no smoke. Okay, so don't even worry about that. It's all plant. I think it's a Brand of Promise nominee. It's a beautiful rendition of what is possible with Sotol. Congratulations to these folks, Quechol, Sotol. And I'll tell you what, join us for the second version, the second review, because then we'll get into what Quechol really means. So, but that's our take on Quechol. This is the Daslerian Wheeleri expression. All right, but stick with us. We'll be right back with the Daslerian Texanum. And that was going to be interesting, okay? But that's our take on Quechol. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That guy sunning his buns is
Matt Metris in Rochester, New York.
Matt is famous. I'm telling you, he's famous. Okay, he's gonna one day he's gonna go, Mike, I'm so famous, I can't do this with you anymore because you're dragging down my popularity. Please, subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit the notification bell, give us a like. Don't forget to share. If you've had this Sotol or you've had Sotol at all, tell us what you're doing with it. Are you making cocktails with it? What are you paying for it? Have you had it before? What do you think? Tell us, leave a comment, give us a like. It helps with the algorithm. Subscribe unless you're afraid of commitment. And whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.